Good noon to you. How are you? I hope you're doing well. I am currently waiting for some frozen strawberries to defrost so I can make myself a strawbana protein shake. I think maybe I might try making it a choco strawbana one this time. I've never done it before, so let's see how that turns out. But anyway, while I'm waiting for my strawberries to defrost, I thought I would come on here and spend some time with you. I hope your day is going well. Let's take a look at some dating advice today because I think you enjoy that. Just the regular dating advice subreddit today. How to bring up an O gap. I feel like if we jump into that one straight off the bat, that YouTube is going to penalize me for that. So let's do another one. Why do so many people in dating apps hide the fact that they are overweight? Don't know if this is advice rather than just asking a question. What's the point? People will know what your true body size is on the first date and won't meet you again if it is a deal breaker. It's just a waste of everyone's time and effort. I kind of agree with that. I think if it actually matters to someone, then it's going to matter to them no matter what. And personally, I feel like if someone is going to judge you based purely on that, why would you even want to be with that person in the first place? But looking at it from, the other person's side who's maybe hidden it on their profile, I can understand if they're just like either constantly getting rejected and they want people to at least get to know them before they decide to, get rid of them or whatever, or that maybe I wouldn't be surprised if people were matching with them just to give them abuse. Because, when I was on dating apps, people would match with me and then immediately say the most sexist, racist things. And I'd be like, what is the point? To be fair, I think they somehow thought that was flirting or negging, as the incels call it. But it's just like, I can understand at some point that you maybe get tired of that and just decide to like hide that or whatever. But yeah, this doesn't really seem like advice. So let's move on. That was unfortunate. A girl I'm dating who I haven't slept with yet told me that she has herpes. What questions do I ask to be safe? I still want to date her. That's interesting. So I started dating someone who I feel I'm very compatible with. She's an amazing person and she just had the courage to tell me that she has herpes. She was terrified to tell me, but it does not define who she is as a person, and I still want to date her. What questions do I ask her so I can protect myself? How do I go about educating myself so I can stay safe? I don't know about herpes. Well, sorry, I'm messing around with things on my desk here. Well, first and foremost, I'm assuming that it's not just the herpes simplex 1 virus, which is also known as a cold sore, or it's an unfortunate term, but labial herpes, the mouth up here. Cold sores are very, very common, and the ones that you get on your face are actually different from the ones that you could potentially get in your genitals. So just because of the way that this person who hasn't given their pronouns is asking, I assume it's the STD one. Honestly, I think like the kind of questions that you should ask is like basically what you've asked us, like, okay, so what actually does that mean for you? Like in a practical sense, does it mean that there are additional measures we should take at all times? Or actually, are we only at risk if you have like some sort of flare up or whatever? I'm guessing that it would maybe something that you would have to take precautions with all the time, because although it's less likely that you would give someone a cold sore if you didn't have an active one at the moment, I think it technically is possible to pass on cold sores even when the virus is dormant. But I'm even not sure about the logistics of that, because it's not just fluids, right? It's like the contact, full stop. And so if someone has herpes, which by the way, it's incurable, so that's why, it's not as simple as, just take some medicine or whatever. Once you have herpes, you've got it for life. So I honestly don't know, but I would ask her the questions that you're asking us, because presumably she if she's responsible, which I'm guessing she wants to be by telling you, then hopefully she will have also got some information there. So ask her what she knows about it already. Do your own research about the kind of precautions that you should take. Google it, look at, some popular websites like WebMD or the Mayo Clinic, keeping in mind obviously that that's just the internet. I would also actually book an appointment with your doctor. So whether that's a gynecologist or I think it's a urologist, I would probably not just go to the GP. I would, go to a specialising doctor or like a free clinic, something like that, to get more information there, because they're the experts, and not only will they be able to properly advise you about the risks and precautions you can take, they might even be able to supply you with some of those precautions beforehand. Cool. I quite like that one, people trying to be responsible, because we've talked about good sexual health in previous videos, so I like that these people are thinking about that. That's good. Would you continue seeing someone exclusively if they broke the news to you about contracting HPV? That seems to be quite similar to the last one, so let's see what the other one is. Is not having sex yet in the relationship a red flag? Well, I can tell you right now, no. I don't want to do them all about sex. Let's see if there's another one. I ended things with the guy I was dating and don't know if I did the right thing. I miss him so much. Okay, this one might be more interesting. Let's take a look at this. And if you really want to know answers about the other 6 questions, ask me in the comments, okay? Okay, so I am a 24-year-old female and I ended things with the 27-year-old male that I was dating, and I don't know if I did the right thing. I miss him so much, but he didn't want to commit. So did I do the right thing? I made a post about this last week, but basically I met a really great guy on Hinge. We dated for only a month, so I know it was short. But he's everything I wanted in a guy. We were compatible, same sense of humour, great sex, deep talks, and lots of fun. We had about 8 dates and basically saw each other twice a week. Yeah. On our last date, he asked me what I was looking for. Really? Just on the 8th date? After you've done a bunch of stuff? Okay, fair enough. He asked me what I was looking for, and I said I normally date with the intention of a relationship, but I'm willing to take things slow. He basically said that he wants to date around and he might be open to being exclusive, but he doesn't want to promise anything to me. I told him I'm willing to take things slow, but I just don't want to get strung along and wait 10 months to be exclusive. He said he likes me so much, but he just can't promise anything and would want to see me and maybe other people at the same time to figure out what he wants. So I ended things and told him I think it's best that we don't see each other anymore. When I ended things, he cried a little bit. Ooh, and said this doesn't feel right. That's surprising. And that he thinks he might regret this decision. I haven't talked to him since. This was only 3 days ago though. Girl, did I do the right thing? I'm so sad and I feel conflicted because it was still early, only a month in. Maybe I should have been more patient. But also, I was ready and I just want to be with a guy who's excited to be with me, not scared. What do you think I should do? Giggity girl. I think that was a bit rash, to be honest, right? So they're seeing each other about twice a week for a month. It's a short period of time, but they spent enough time together that they kind of have an idea of what they like, even though they didn't know yet what they were actually looking for. I think that's kind of weird. To be honest, that's usually one of the first topics that you cover, right? But whatever, that's fine if other people don't do that. It's not an issue. For me, it's got nothing to do with me. I mean, you said that you're willing to take things slow, but after a month, that was already too slow for you. So I feel like maybe you're contradicting yourself a little bit there. And to be honest, what was it he said? He maybe wants to see me and other people at the same time to figure out what he wants. I think that's totally fair. It's only been a month and you already want to be exclusive. Either be exclusive or I'm not seeing you anymore. That's quite a strong, not an ultimatum, but it's quite a strong choice to make after only 1 month. I think it would be totally reasonable to date around a little bit. I mean, it could even be, okay, if you're worried about safety, which is always a concern for me, I would be like, okay, maybe we still date other people, but I won't sleep with anyone yet. And if it gets to the point where I feel like I will, because, you know, I maybe want to carry on things more with them than I do with you, then I'll tell you and we'll break things off then. But until then, maybe I date other people and I still like you the most. You know what I mean? I think, yeah, like, why not explore your options? Like, you're young and it's only been a month. It's only been a month. But anyway, OP ended things and said it's best we don't see each other anymore. I'm surprised that he cried a bit. It seems as if he's got the feels, you know, but I think it's fair enough that he's sort of saying to himself, well, I wasn't intending to necessarily get into a relationship. It's only been a month. Maybe I should also hold my fucking horses and not jump into a super serious relationship. You know, maybe I shouldn't run in with my eyes closed type thing, you know. But, you know, he obviously likes you enough that he feels, you know, quite emotional about the idea of not seeing you anymore. It's only been 3 days. Girl, I don't think there's a right or wrong thing to do in this situation regarding, like, stay with him or leave him. But I definitely think you should have been more patient. Like, that's just a bit much. You know what I would do? I would just, like, text him or call him and be like, you know what? I think I made a mistake doing that. I'm sorry to be, like, flip-flopping with you. But actually, I think I would be willing to, like, wait a little bit longer, something like, and then just throw out your time frame. So you already said, I don't want to be waiting 10 months. What do you think is more of a realistic time frame for you? And then that way he can decide whether he also thinks, like, yeah, that's reasonable. Like, I would expect to have made my mind up before then anyway. Or maybe he's like, oh, well, 6 weeks, like, that's still not that much more than a month. You know what I mean? I would just, you know, like, swallow your pride or whatever and just be like, oh, I'm sorry that I did that. I think I've made a mistake. Like, is there any chance, like, we could still see each other and see how it goes? But yeah, that was a bit too rash. Cool. What else have we got? If you're going to pretend to work, oh, that's an advert. Boo. I don't think I've had that on these videos before, an advert. Telling a girl in the talking stage that you're only intending to date her and not multiple people, question mark. What do you mean? So OP is a 31-year-old male who says, I'm in the talking stage with a woman who's a 31-year-old female now. We've only had one date, albeit a great one. Lots of flirty communication and talking otherwise in the month that we've known each other. Only one date in a month? I wonder if they started talking first and then met in real life, or if they met one time and then haven't met again since. Probably the former. Anyway, should I let her know that I'm only intending on dating her currently? I'd like to communicate it, but don't know how. I don't want her to think that I want exclusivity after only one date, but that I want to give my time and attention to only her if we're dating. Should this be verbally stated or just subtly hinted at? I have a history of being way too direct and want to be cautious in my approach because I like her a lot. Thanks in advance. Edit. Thanks everyone. I'm glad I asked because clearly I should keep these thoughts to myself for now. I mean, I would really ask, why do you want to tell her? What's the benefit? If you're saying that you're not asking her for exclusivity, so you're fine if she dates other people, what's the benefit of telling her? For me, I think the disadvantage would be that she's a little bit like, whoa, like thinking maybe that you're too much into her already, and maybe that puts her off. I don't think it's necessarily true if you say, well, I just want to focus on one person at a time, because similarly to how not everyone can multitask, not everyone wants to date multiple people at a time. I think that's fine. But again, if you're doing that out of your own choice and you don't necessarily want her to do the same thing, what would be the point? I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm the kind of person who just like expresses my feelings all the damn time. Like, my partner and I kind of, you know, poke fun at the fact that I tell him absolutely everything. Like, even stuff that doesn't even matter, it's just like a floating thought in my head. Which means that because I tell him everything, if there's something that I don't tell him, it somehow feels like I'm deliberately hiding it. So maybe that's what OP is talking about as well. You know, they said that they're quite direct, which I am too. But honestly, like, if you're not hoping to get anything out of telling her, then I don't see what the point would be, and you're maybe then also opening up to her being a bit freaked out by it, even if, you know, she shouldn't really be, because it doesn't really mean anything. But again, if it doesn't mean anything, why do it? Oh no, I'm still here. I'm still here. Like, thanks for watching, but I just pressed the wrong button. These have been really fast. Got cheated on after 5 years together with a guy that she just met. Ah, okay, so the person just met a guy and then cheated. I thought they meant that they cheated on someone that they just met. Got cheated on after 5 years together with a guy that the person who cheated just met. Are you following? Are you with me? So, recently I'm going through a breakup with a girl who I had been with for 5 years. She cheated on me with someone that she went to school with and someone that she just met. Ooh. I was gone for a week to see my family, and during that time she went behind my back and started flirting and hanging out with another guy that gave her attention for the week. We ended up breaking up right when I came back. She also made her own decision and chose to hang out with the guy rather than pick up her 5-year boyfriend. He was excited to see her coming back. What? Oh, okay, so OP was coming back and he was excited to see the girlfriend, but the girlfriend was too busy flirting with some other guy to pick him up from the airport or the train station, wherever it was. I don't understand this whole thing with like couples should pick each other up from the airport. Like, unless it's really far away or really expensive and it's going to be a pain in the ass, but still then you're asking the other person to make a round trip pain in the ass. I don't get this thing about picking each other up. Like, if you've got a lot of luggage and it's impractical for you to carry it all yourself, fine, but like, I don't think I've ever asked someone to pick me up from the airport. Like, maybe if like the place where you're going is really inaccessible, there's no public transport, there's no taxis or whatever, but anyway, that's not really relevant. So we break up and she tells me she needs to go for a little drive to clear her mind. I completely understand and respect it if that's how she wants to deal with it. She stays out later than usual and being alone outside late at night worried me, so I called her and checked to see if she's okay. She has her location turned off, so I stay up until she comes back. Everything seemed to be okay and I still welcome her to go to sleep next to me. That's not wise, but whatever. I wake up and my gut feeling was telling me to check her messages to see if there was anything suspicious. I hope you did not. OP, I hope you did not. I eventually found out that she's been chatting it up with another guy while I've been gone on the trip. She flirts with him and gives him his number, her number, I think that's supposed to be. So it looks like OP has then completely violated the ex-girlfriend's privacy by checking her messages. You shouldn't be doing that. Regardless, let's move on. They talk extremely sexually towards each other and she wanted to bring him over to a place that we both stay at. That level of disrespect is next tier and it did not sit right with me. I was fully committed to this relationship and felt like I never had to worry about her flirting with anyone or cheating on me. It really caught me off guard that she would do something like that. Like, 1 week away from me really changed her entire perspective on what we built together. Maybe it didn't. Maybe this isn't the first time she's done it. Maybe she's been feeling like this for a while. Anyway. I found out and was ready to move my stuff out, but for some reason I still truly cared and loved this girl and didn't want to leave her alone in a place we moved to so we can start a future together. What, so you're just going to stay there forever just because it's a shame? I eventually talked it out with her and forgave her for what she did. Oh my, this... I'm sorry OP, but I think this is one of the most all over the place what are you doing posts that I've read, like, ever. I know everyone makes mistakes, but cheating is one of the worst ones, but I did not want to hold a grudge against her. That doesn't mean you have to get back with her. I gave her time to think if she'll change. I gave her time to think to see if she'll change, and we talked multiple times and she seemed genuinely sorry for what she did. I was setting up to see if she was truly sorry, so when she was gone, I again looked through her phone. I'm sorry, but OP, you cannot be trusted. How can you be asking someone else for trust if you can't be trusted yourself? I'm sorry, but this ain't the tea. Anyway, I again looked through her phone and again she lied. She was manipulating me into leaving all the things I paid for so she can use it when I move out. She was actually unbelievable in what she was saying in those messages, and it truly will scar me for life. I truly hope no one ever goes through what I went through. She also asked me if hypothetically I would ever give her another chance, and I just said I don't know. So you're still saying you don't know? Bitch! I care so much about her, and it truly hurts that it turned out this way. Reading her messages with the guy is disgusting, and as a guy myself, all he wanted to do was hook up, and she basically being played. But it is really that easy. How do you know she didn't want to just hook up? She was sleeping with 3 people at the same time. Why do you think that she wanted something serious with this guy? I don't know. I wish nothing but the best for her, but thought I would share this. Okay, so you're not even actually looking for advice, but I'm gonna give you the fucking advice anyway. Bitch, what are you doing? What are you actually doing? Like, you said that cheating is one of the worst things that someone could ever possibly do. You found out that she's cheated on you with 2 separate people the 1 week that you're out of town. And then even after that, and you know, she says that she's so sorry and blah, 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 that she's still like messing around with someone else and is basically manipulating you so she can take advantage of your wealth. And like, what are you doing? You don't have to get back together with someone in order to qualify as not holding a grudge, and you don't have to hold a grudge against someone to break up with them. You can just say, you know what, like, it's whatever, it happened, I don't have any ill feelings towards you, but now I'm putting up a boundary and we're not going to be in a relationship together anymore. And you could even say we're also not going to be friends, or you could say but we could still be friends, whatever. But like, what, it's only been like a fucking day and you're like, oh, but I still care about her and I still love her? Of course you do, it's only been a fucking day. Like, you can't just expect yourself to snap out of, you know, real feelings that you have for someone, and then if you don't immediately hate them, then it means that you should stay together. What are you doing, OP? Like, I get that, like, it seems like OP is just a nice person and says, you know, just because someone does me wrong doesn't mean I want to put them in a shitty situation. But you're going too far. I mean, why should you be the one to move out in the first place? Why did you let her still sleep next to you after you'd broken up with each other? Why are you then saying that, oh, maybe I shouldn't even leave the apartment because then she'll be left on her own? What, like... I don't know how many times I said, what are you doing? Like, is it just me? Come on, this guy is just, like, all over the place here. Like, it's... I mean, he's saying, like, oh, this guy only wants to hook up, but it's so easy to do that. This girl only wants to manipulate you, and you're letting her do that. You're actively letting her take advantage of you, and you're not doing anything to change the situation. Ay, Dios mío. I need to move on. Next. Oh my gosh. And again, I wasn't even asking for advice, so let's see. I have never had my first kiss or a boyfriend. I'm worried I'm going to turn men away. Is this actually asking for advice? Because I'm getting a bit that way where, is this advice or are you just all venting? Okay, they ask a question at the end. Good. So let's do this one then. We can make this our last one, okay? So OP is a 24-year-old female, still young, and says, I've never had a boyfriend, I've never had my first kiss or a boyfriend. I'm worried that I'm going to turn men away when they find out I'm still a virgin and inexperienced in dating. I just turned 24 in February, and I really can't help but wonder how inexperienced I am in relationships. I know I shouldn't be overly worried about it, but this reality often makes me a little sad. Basically, I grew up in a very strict household. Both of my parents were very strict and would never approve of my siblings and I getting in relationships. They were also at times abusive, but that's not the point here. So coming from a household like that, I always turned down guys who would express interest in me, and I just don't think I gave the impression that I was one of those girls that would hook up or casually date for the fun of it. I was a little more conservative than others about stuff like that. I also grew up in the church, and relationships and sex were always deemed bad. So that also played a major role for me. I eventually graduated high school and went to a private Christian college for about 3 years. So this wasn't just in childhood, it was also then well into adulthood. At that school, none of the guys seemed interested in me as I didn't fit the beauty standard and was very different from them in terms of life experiences, race, hobbies, politics, etc. They weren't interested in me and neither was I in them, to be honest, which I think is the most important thing here. Like I understand it doesn't necessarily feel good if you feel like no one's into you and you want people to be into you, but if you're not even into them, what's the point, honestly? I just went about my day while attending that school. Good, because it's school, learn. I eventually transferred and went to a public university and was thrown back into the whole public school world. I felt more comfortable there, but I still don't know how to approach guys and they just didn't seem interested in me. Even if I started talking to someone through DMs, it eventually just faded. That happens with everyone, honestly, it does. Yes, I've had some guys express interest in me and even ask me out, but I always turn them down because they're not the ones I find attractive or would want to be in a relationship with. I'm not ugly. I think I look good, but maybe guys around me don't think so. I don't know, but now that I've graduated college, I'm worried I'm never going to find someone because college is one of the main places you meet people and start dating. Maybe before, but I don't think necessarily now, but whatever. I feel like guys will be less interested in me if they find out how inexperienced I am. Am I a walking red flag? I don't get it. Why don't they want to pursue or date me? Let's not go down the road of why don't they want to pursue or date me, because I think that's into incel territory. You shouldn't have that frame of mind of like, why don't they, you know? I think here, I mean, just to answer the questions directly, I don't think that just because you haven't dated anyone or kissed anyone at age 24, it doesn't necessarily make you a walking red flag in my eyes. But being very realistic, some people will stay away from you just for that reason. And it could be, for example, like, so me personally, if I wanted a long-term relationship, if I wanted someone serious, then that wouldn't necessarily put me off. It would be a factor just like everything else, but I wouldn't automatically turn someone away just because of that. But if I was just looking to date around or just, you know, have some physical whatever, then of course that's going to be a bigger factor because you're not necessarily looking to invest that much in the other person, and you also don't want it to be like a fucking mama bird where all of a sudden this person latches onto you for life. You know what I mean? So I'm just being honest here. It's not necessarily a huge red flag, but for some people it will still put them off. That's just the truth, okay? Then as I say, like, I think as well, you know, the context that this person is given is good. They don't indicate whether they do still have strong Christian beliefs or, you know, whether they do still think that, you know, that they shouldn't be dating or doing these things or whatever. They haven't indicated that, but I'm just guessing from what they say and the fact that they feel more comfortable now in a public university rather than a Christian one. I'm assuming that that was the environment that they grew up in, but now they want to be a bit more like the norm in terms of, you know, dating, meeting people, having a first kiss and so on. It sounds as if that's what they're saying. And I think that it's good that they're saying that they didn't go out with some people who asked them because they just weren't interested in them anyway. I think that's good. I would discourage you from going into the realm of just dating anyone who asks because you feel like you don't have any other options or you feel like you're going to be whatever, blah, blah, blah. If you're not interested, don't try and force yourself or don't pretend to be interested for both parties, you know? I understand that they're saying, well, I can't find where it says, but they said something about how they don't really know how to approach other people. Yeah, I felt more comfortable there, but I still didn't know how to approach guys and they just didn't seem interested in me. So it seems as if OPs maybe been interested in people, but they just didn't know how to go about it, which is understandable, you know, if you're not that experienced, I get it. They said that, you know, college is, you know, when you start dating these things, it's the main place where you meet. And I think there is some truth to that, but there's also other places people meet. So, you know, maybe like friend of a friend, you go to a party, or like you happen to, you know, someone brings a friend along to dinner or something like that. Or like even, you know, apps, you know, like Tinder, Hinge and things like that. I think it's extremely common for people to meet there now. And at least that way, I think dating apps might be good for you because in apps like Tinder, both of you have to express an interest in each other. And because it's a dating app, you're already going into the conversation with the understanding that you want to have some sort of dating type relationship and that it's not that one of you never saw you that way and you just wanted it to be purely platonic from the start. Don't get me wrong, once you get chatting, you may not find that spark and you may not actually want to date one another, but there's already the safe assumption that since you're able to talk to each other there, that you said you liked him and he said he liked you. You know, so I actually think this might be a really good option for you to take some of that pressure away and again go into it knowing that both of you are actually at least on the face of it interested in one another. If you don't want to do that, Other things that you could do is, as I say, get out there a little bit more, go to more social events, interact with people outside of your circle so that you can get to know people. Friend of a friend is a good one, because then it sort of breaks the ice already. Like, you're not total strangers, you do have a connection through a mutual friend. And not to be like, oh, here my friend fancies you, which is like what they used to do, in primary school and things like that. Not going quite that far, but you could, in that situation, say to your friend like, oh, hey, is whatever his face, is he dating anyone right now? Like, do you think if I asked him out, he might be interested? And they might be like, yeah, sure, like I can ask him for you if you want, whatever, you can get situations like that. Speed dating in real life is a thing as well. I've never done that before. I think there is a certain stereotype and stigma that people apply to speed dating, but the thing is, everyone who's there also did speed dating, so I think it's not really a big deal, It's not as if one of you thinks it's okay and the other one doesn't, and if they do, why are they there? You know what I mean? But I think apps could be good for you in that way as well. Like, I think in a way it can be less pressure than meeting someone for the first time in real life, because then you're not having to think on the spot like, oh shit, what do I say? Like, how am I supposed to react to this? You can take a little bit of time to be like, I'm gonna say this back. And then you can read it back and be like, oh no, actually, like, I'll say this instead. Yeah, that's good. So it gives you a little bit of space, a little bit of time to decide what you're gonna say, and maybe feel a little bit less awkward. I don't know, it depends. Some people feel a lot more awkward on the apps and other people feel less awkward. But whatever you do, just make sure to be safe. It really annoys me how people say that meeting online is more dangerous than meeting in a bar, because if you meet online, at least they don't know your physical location and they can't immediately attack you physically and follow you home. But someone you meet in a bar is just as likely to be dangerous as someone that you meet online. Okay, so whatever you do, be safe. Make sure people know where you are and where you're going. Yeah, how was that? It was a bit strange that on a dating advice subreddit, there were like mostly people not even asking for advice, but I think we managed to get some good things in there. I'm gonna go see then if my strawberries have sufficiently defrosted and make myself a little milkshake. Yeah, thanks a lot for joining me. I had fun here. I hope you did too. Check out some of my other videos if you liked this one and want some more of me blabbering on. And yeah, I will see you again soon. Have a nice day. Bye. 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 Bye.